Today, we're taking a look at those little things that either make our day run smoothly or those things that make everything just fall apart. Are they a help or are they a hindrance? We're diving into the well to laugh about the aggravations, celebrate the wins, and maybe even share a few hot takes along the way. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Edgewell Podcast, a show created for, by, and with teachers. I'm Alex.
And I'm Chelsea. Our goal is to share insights and connect with fellow teachers on how to thrive both personally and professionally.
Join us as we dive deep into the well of information filled with relatable tips, practical discussions, and ideas that go way beyond the classroom walls. Let's be well
and do well together.
All right, Chelsea, so I am looking forward to going into the well and maybe getting rid of some things that are clogging it up and throwing in some things that are useful. How about you?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about those things that we're experiencing or the tools that we're using in the classroom or the things that enter the classroom that may be helpful to us and may not be helpful to us at all.
Chelsea, are we going to get to do this one ping pong style, my very favorite style of us podcasting?
Yeah, of course. Since you love it so much, we are going back and forth to discuss what's a help in the classroom or what's a hindrance or maybe both. I'm going first. Help or hindrance? Those metal water bottles in the classroom.
The simplest question. I am so firm in the fact that they are not a help and they are an extreme hindrance. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, and this is how we're supposed to do it. Okay, so the number one is the most obvious, which is the water bottles are getting bigger by the week. I mean, the water bottle is the new status symbol. They are getting more expensive. They are almost like laced in diamonds and gold at this point.
You can't even see the kid's face
exactly
over the water bottle.
20 minutes to fill up, and it is the perfect excuse to leave the classroom because the water bottle is getting a little bit empty. The other thing is when they fall on the floor and it sounds like something very serious is happening and I almost want to hit the deck. That is my natural reaction. They are such a hindrance to the flow of the classroom despite holding the beautiful flow of water. And I mean, I'm just going to point out the obvious, and that is when we were kids, we literally went and we drank out of the water fountain. And I don't know when we got to the point where that was such a cliche, awful thing to do. The water bottles are beyond hindrance. Am I being too emphatic about this?
I have all of the same points written down about the water bottle, to be honest with you. Mainly that I jump out of my skin when they drop onto the desk or onto the ground especially. So yes, I agree. They are a hindrance in my classroom and in my home because they seem to pile up until I say no more water bottles in this house. We are good for water bottles.
Okay, we have a hindrance. I'm happy because I was worried all of these would be helps because, any tool we can grab in the classroom typically finds a space to be useful. But I feel strongly, it sounds like you feel strongly. So,
yeah.
okay.
And I think there's a little bit of expectation inflation around the type of water bottle that people have, right?
Well, I go all the way back to university and I'm going to drop one name and it's Nalgene. Okay. That was the water bottle that you had when you were in university. And that was a long time ago. And I've been teaching in 7-8 where having the trendy thing matters a lot for about 14 years. And before that, I was teaching K-6. I could go through all the different brand trends of the water bottles. And I bet you could too. So It's quite fascinating to watch that evolve. All right. What about this one? Do you think this is a help or a hindrance? Whiteboards and whiteboard markers for each student in the classroom. Help or hindrance?
I'm going to say help to that. I have found many ways to use those in my classroom that are really fun and really engaging. Now, is there a little bit of this marker doesn't work or I'm going to color this entire whiteboard right now so that the marker runs out? Yeah, but it's minimal damage control. So overall, I love the mini whiteboards. And also, I believe I stole them from you.
I believe you did. And And now
You
that,
lent me those.
yes,
I have not given them back.
and I appreciate why, because let me add to the reasons that you just gave as to, why they're so great to have. I find, and this is your point I'm stealing. So you might have stolen my whiteboards. I'm stealing this idea. You said this a while back to me, and it was that students are more inclined to write down and be wrong because it is not permanent and it's just a quick little erase. It doesn't have the same permanency feeling. So they take chances in their learning, and we love that, of course. And I think for students who have a hard time printing really small on lined paper, it can be helpful for them to write down their ideas. It's a fun way to not create paper mess. They all go off into the shelf, and the students don't have to organize their paper into their binders. I like them a lot. I'm a big fan of whiteboards, and I think that they're great for 7-8, but I would suggest that you could use those up into university too. There's lots of different uses for them. Should you want to give it a try?
They're really fun. Students can also draw their answers, which they just love doing. And also, if you're having a class discussion, when you ask a question and you're looking for an answer, you could have everyone write it down and hold it up facing you. And that way, you're not putting the pressure on them of calling on someone, or put your hands up. And it's quiet too. It's peaceful, it's quiet, and we love that.
We love peace and quiet, of course.
So thumbs up to mini whiteboards in the classroom.
Okay, so 1 up, 1 down. That's good. All right.
Okay, let's go on to old school pencil sharpeners.
Oh,
the
gosh.
ones that have the crank.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm going to go with my honest first instinct.
Okay.
Which is Hindrance. I'm sorry. And I'm going to tell you why.
All right.
I like to go old school, and I find it is another reason to get up and crank and crank and crank and, take a break. There's other ways students can take breaks. That's really important. It's loud. It's disruptive. I think 10% of my entire teaching career, I've had one that actually works. There's always a lead stuck in that metal section in the middle, and it never sharpens to a proper point. So I'm not a big fan. I have in the past bought an electric one and had a student or one of my kids come in on the weekend, let's say way in the past, and just sharpen a bunch of pencils. So then you do a pencil exchange instead. So I think they are somewhat antiquated, and I am not a fan of pencil sharpeners. Oh, what do you think?
I don't think there's an easy answer here. I think this one is definitely up for debate. I'm going to say at this point in time that I do like my trusty old school pencil sharpener. The one that I have now works pretty well. I have had to replace it, and I do have the problem of leads being stuck in it, especially from pencil crayons. That's a problem. However, it has made me an expert in deconstructing a safety pin, sticking it in there and popping that lead out. And every time that lead pops out of there, it is a victory.
Safety.
Such a victory for me, though.
It's like popping
I
a
get
zit.
a round of applause from my class. Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm just going to say that if the pencil sharpener in your room, that tool, however, whichever kind you're using, whether kids are having their own individual, you have an electric, you have the manual, it is something that will take up some of your time or create stress or create, a smooth day. So that pencil sharpener has power in your space.
It does. And you bring up the electric pencil sharpener. Well, come on, like that is noise right there. And I have purchased 2 of those in my time as a teacher, and both of them have broken, like way faster than an old school sharpener. Okay, so if I had to choose between old school pencil sharpener, electric pencil sharpener, then I would choose my trusty old school pencil sharpener. I do think, though, and I might just talk the rest of this episode about the pencil sharpener. I do think that the amount that students are getting up to get their pencil sharpened, I think that can be controlled. I feel like I have that under control, and it's working out well for me.
Yeah, even for me, I know a lot of times it's indicative of how engaged the students are when there's like the little,
Yeah.
the train going to fill up the water bottle, the train going to fill up the already sharpened pencil. I mean, these are all just things that add up to all the things that you're managing within a space, right? And trying to keep smooth and you know, you want the kids to have the tools to be successful, but sometimes those tools make you want to rip your hair out. Like it's just, yeah, it's just a constant dance, but it's definitely a thing.
But the
Okay.
silver lining there
Mm-hmm.
is that you will know just how boring your lesson is if kids are getting up to use that
That's
trusty
totally
old
the
school pencil
truth.
sharpener. So
I
there you
know.
go. Got to change, got to reflect. All right.
Okay.
Mhm.
I've got one. Help or hindrance? Giving students a small chunk of time on a daily basis to practice a typing program.
I want to say that that's a help. I'm also going to admit that it's not something I do regularly. I've just never been consistent with it.
I don't know fully because I haven't done it in like 20 years. I used to have my students do Mavis Beacon way back in the day. But I noticed that our students do not have typing skills, whereas I can type and talk at the same time, type and look around the room and manage the classroom without even looking at the keyboard. It is a skill. And I was thinking about whether this actually is a help or a hindrance, because now with voice to text, I don't know, that you really totally need to know how to type, but you can't really do that in the classroom. So I don't know. I think about it now as maybe it's on the list of when you're done, what can I do, and have that as one of the options, because that is a skill that could improve students' efficiency.
I agree. I think it's a help. There are so many typing programs that have little challenges and they're game-like, right? So I do think it would be a help, and I would like to incorporate it more in my classroom.
Yeah, I brought up that idea because I wanted to inspire you today to change something and to add something to the long list of things that you already have to do. You're welcome.
So I'll have to try that, and I'll have to see if it's a real help or a hindrance.
Okay, I'm going to try it too. Let's circle back to that and see how that goes.
Okay. Speaking of typing things out, how about, we've talked about this before, the Monday memo?
Okay, I cannot stress enough how much I love the Monday memo.
Love it.
Love it. I know you do that in your family, and it's a way to communicate the week's events. As someone who, gets to school on a Monday morning, and I need to know what are the pertinent, most important things for the week that everyone needs to know about. For me to pop open something and have a daily list codified is epic. It's helpful. It's organized. I can't do without it at this point. It is my favorite. I'm exaggerating. It is something that really roots me on a Monday. So I really like the Monday morning memo. I already know you do.
Agreed. Let's keep that Monday morning memo. Yeah, that's a tough Monday morning memo. Try saying that 5 times. Monday morning memo. Actually, it's not that hard.
Well, that was a really good alliteration though, Chelsea. So
thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, this one is something that I would suggest most have gotten away from, and it's been replaced by technology. But what do you think of a physical daily agenda that students write down, like what they have to remember for the next day or what they did during the day? So an agenda.
When it comes to the old written agenda, I mean, you know that I am all for that because I do believe that when you write things down, it helps imprint it in your mind better. And I also just think that's a fact. Do I think students need one place, one physical space that they look at to figure out what homework they have that night? Yeah, I would actually like to go back to that. It helps with creating, a lifelong habit. I mean, we talk about the importance of making lists. Like making lists are helping hold you accountable. And yeah, you could do it digitally, but there's just something about writing it down that makes you more accountable to check those things off that list.
I think too, when you're the one doing it. So let's say I'm kind of building on what you just said, like you put on a board some things that need to get done for the day and you ask students to put it into the agenda, right? They are then making it a part of their list. There's something about the computer where if it's rotary or just a single room, the teacher is writing down the list. Once that transfers into an agenda, it is now the student's list that they can check off. It's in their writing. There's a personalization that exists. I think agenda usage has to be paired with really good metacognitive teaching, whereby, they understand why it's important. They give themselves the gift of checking things off. They're sometimes moving forward onto a different date to write down something that is due. I used it as something that students did first thing when they sat down in the class. And it was just never a question. They would be writing down what they would be responsible for the day. Whether it was something that they were actually going to be doing or something that they were going to be learning, it was written. It was almost like a living record, a living document of all the things that we were learning. And I just think it set the table for every day that we used to do. I don't do it lately or anymore, let's say, but I think it's something that I'm also considering bringing back in some capacity.
I completely agree. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that the teacher is making the list for them. So how does that really help you develop that habit of organizing things in a way that you need to do it? So if students have their own agenda and they're making their own lists, it gives them the agency to organize their tasks in a way that suits them. I mean, that's what I prefer. Time management. I'm going to organize my time in a way that suits my schedule, which is what people have to learn how to do.
Oh, they really do. And if you have to always pop onto your phone or pop onto your device, what I'm finding as a learner, as a teacher, as a human being on earth, is that's yet another invitation to go down yet another rabbit hole of distraction. And I will share with you that those rabbit holes last a really long time, and they're really, diverse in the things that I will get caught up in just looking in my calendar. Like, oh, there's a text from Chelsea. Oh, there's an email that I need to check that I'm waiting for. So I think that it can help with focus because it is just one thing. And to me, when I'm using the digital, it is not just that one thing that I'm looking at. It is everything in my life. And so interesting, because all of our things that we're talking about as helps, a lot of the helps that we're talking about are they're not techie things. And I am noticing that when I introduce techie things, I'm also introducing into the space a whole bunch of other complexities. I am competing with games. I am competing with, students talking to each other on the computer. Like, it's a lot. So when I can do something simpler, I'm starting to see that as a superior choice for what I want to accomplish.
It helps with being more intentional and preventing distraction. Okay, let's go on to any type of announcement that comes over the intercom at the end of the day right before dismissal.
You're asking me if that's a help or a hindrance?
Yeah, I am.
Well, I guess it's a help for the people who require the information.
Can the people hear the information?
No, well, I think that interruptions in general, which I interrupt. I interrupt the whole school sometimes. Just saying, I make announcements. I do. I know it's not helpful to those individual spaces. It is helpful to a small group of people who require the information. So no, it is not helpful. And let's just be real. At busy times of the year, like we just got off of a very busy time of year. There was lots going on in the school and there were a ton of interruptions. So it is a hindrance. It is a hindrance to the flow of the school. It is a hindrance to the learning environment. It is a hindrance when students are trying to focus. It's a hindrance. I know that.
I get that it has to happen. It has to happen sometimes. You just, we have to get this information out right now. But it just doesn't work very well. That's all I'm saying. It's very hard. I can only listen to myself say, shh, everybody, quiet down. I can't hear the intercom. Oh, but hey, I guess that's a reflection on me and my classroom's too loud.
You know what I find really helpful is when I have these types of conversations. So yes, we're doing this on the podcast, but we'll have these conversations randomly in the staff room. And I'll tell you why I find it helpful. It's because there are little aspects of the job that just become like breathing. Sometimes you forget that you can make minor changes. You can keep or kibosh. You can decide whether it's a help or hindrance, and you can take away things, omit things, and add things to correct these things. But I just find if I don't ever talk about it, then I don't ever see it from someone else's point of view and get new ideas.
Yeah, it's always good to talk to other people, especially other teachers, to see what's working and what is not working. So as we wrap up the episode, I'm going to ask you, Alex, what is something that you're using this year in your classroom that is a help?
Okay, well, one of the biggest things that I've added is internal. And it is that before I speak, like, you know how we're saying we have to go shush, shush, like we can't, before I speak to the class, I literally say to myself, and I've abbreviated a little bit, is it helpful? Is it true? Is it useful? Is it necessary? And it omits, kiboshes, a good portion of what I choose to say out loud. I say a lot in my head, Chelsea, a lot. Okay. And I don't always let it out now. I really think about that question. And I've also started saying that to my students. So when they are doing things, saying things, trying to share a story to entertain at a time that is, really not appropriate, I ask that question out loud, and I ask them to reflect about when they are choosing to speak and what they are choosing to say. And I feel as though that has, it's improved my teaching for sure.
That's great. You're bringing awareness to the students and to yourself.
Trying every day. What about you?
Okay, well, I'm going to say two things. One is a repeat of what I've said in previous episodes. The most helpful thing, especially when starting a class, for me is to have the agenda written on the board so that students know exactly what they're doing, which eliminates the hindrance of people asking questions, people coming up to the front of the room, people being unaware of what's going on for that chunk of time. I am also going to add that this year I had students, and this is not a new thing, but I had students just ensure that they put their Chromebooks inside of their desks, not on top of their desks along with their supplies, with their binders, because no matter what, that computer can be a distraction. For me this year, I've had very few issues with kids opening up the Chromebooks and starting class with the Chromebook open. And I understand, like, hey, most people know, start the class with the materials away, nothing in the hands to fidget. But there's just something about having that Chromebook visible that makes students want to open it. So it's been really a little bit life-changing, and I like it.
That's fantastic. And it's so funny how those small little minor switches and changes, if you commit to them and you double down on it and make sure that you stick to your boundaries on that, how it can completely change the tone of your classroom. And yeah, again, if someone were to just tune in, it would be like, why are they talking about these most basic things? But those very basic shifts and changes that you make can make or break a class. So help or hindrance. Thanks for listening to the Eduwell podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave a positive review. It helps others to find us.
Follow us on Instagram and Pinterest to help spread the word. For more inspiration, tips, and book recommendations, just head to the show notes and join the Eduwell newsletter today. Until next time, be well
and do well.